What's up, goats? Good Sunday to you. Welcome to the NFL Draft Grades Show. Yeah, this is where we're just gonna. I think we're just gonna like wrap the whole entire 3-day event with a bow, right?
Let's do it,
I
man.
mean, it's just part of it's part of the process,
Yeah.
right? Now we'll take each team, go through a little bit of I don't think we need to go pick by pick by pick. We'll give it like a little
No.
bit of a snapshot of how the teams, their key selections. We'll give them a grade. We'll do that today. We'll do well tomorrow. So some house cleaning, goats. Tomorrow we will do the winners and losers from this draft, from the 2025 NFL draft for fantasy. Because, we are a fantasy football channel. And we
Yep.
are getting better at football for you. We have been. We've enjoyed, and I think I could speak for the commissioner that we have enjoyed this draft process. Getting into the real nuts and bolts of all of these prospects and all the work that they put into it and all their talents and what their strengths are, what their weaknesses are, and how we hope this will. I'm sure they hope too, but how, and their teams, but how we hope this will translate into real professional production. And yeah, we've had ourselves a really, really fun time. I remember having a really fun time doing this last season. Just we weren't here on YouTube for you, goats. And that leads me to house cleaning part B. That's right. So yeah, we've got the two shows right now. Tomorrow on Thursday, we will do a deeper Dynasty dive with special guest Dynasty Pulse.
Yeah.
Um,
Looking forward to that.
so we don't want you guys to miss any of this content. So just give us a like and subscribe to this channel. We're gonna
Tell a
be
friend.
tell all your friends. Yes, tell
All
a
your friends.
friend. Tell your relatives too. I'm sure some of your relatives like football, like love fantasy. It's I'm sure many of you guys play in family leagues. Like bunch of uncles, bunch of cousins, bunch of cousins, aunts, and uncles, dogs and cats. Who knows? Yeah, just like and subscribe to not to miss any of our content. We'll be doing it all off season, right up until the kickoff and all the way
Yeah.
through.
That's right around the damn corner now, it seems like.
I love it. Can't wait.
Yep. Can't wait.
Yeah, wait. Yeah, no, we do go into another gear now because I mean,
Mhm.
again, there's no more predicting here. It's no
Nope.
more. There's no more guessing. There's no more. Let's connect the dots. Well, there's no more connecting dots to teams drafting players, but we're gonna have to. We will attempt to read tea leaves and listen to coach speaks and all that sort of thing when it comes to now how to parse through a lot of different situations when it comes to these rosters in terms of playing time, and that's going to be very vital. But nevertheless, we're gonna that's just the ball rolling. All right, Rhino. So yeah, let's give these teams some grades. I got it alphabetical here. We are going to save the Browns for last. Yes, we're gonna do.
A
we're gonna do.
a
We're
lot,
gonna
a
do.
lot to unpack on that one, I think.
We're gonna do that on purpose. We're gonna get. We'll hold off on the Browns until the very end. Therefore, it'll give us an opportunity to give our thoughts on Shedeur Sanders. There's no if and look. There's no
Yeah.
beat. Let's not beat around the bush. It's because of that. All right. So Rhino,
Yeah.
alphabetically speaking, it's the Arizona Cardinals, man. I mean, look, this is a team that didn't draft one stinking offensive player. You gotta. You,
I
you,
love their draft. I love
you,
their draft. I
you
love
got
their
you
draft.
gotta at least you gotta put a little bit of appreciation on that. Like, look, they said to themselves, "Oh, dude, I mean, what how are we gonna really improve our offense? We need to improve our defense. We need to hold teams to fewer points, not
Yep.
allow them to score 28-33." So, yeah, look, Walter Nolan, we know is a dog of dogs. Will Johnson, cornerback out of Michigan.
Yeah.
So those were their first 2 picks, and they took another D lineman after that, Jordan Birch. They have another linebacker, Corey Simmons. I think the meat and potatoes obviously are within those first 2 picks.
I like this Corey Simmons pick. That's probably one of my favorite picks by them.
All right, so what do you want to give them?
What's that?
What do you want to give them? You want to give them a grade, or you want to?
Yeah, I'll give them a grade. I'll give them an A. I give them an A.
Cardinals get an A
because they get all the marks that they were lacking last year. They could have
Let's not forget. Let's not forget also this. They drafted all defense. They also brought in Josh Sweat. So I mean, this is a team that made a serious commitment to defense between the free agency and between this draft. I'd give them an A on the draft as well. I mean, look, they nailed a few picks there, and
they knew that they needed to get after the core, that needed to make some stops that they couldn't do last year.
For sure.
If Will Johnson stays healthy, like he could, that could be the steal of the draft right there too.
For sure.
Because he was projected as the top 10 pick.
Excellent defense. It'll lead them right back to 9-8. All right, let's go to the Atlanta Falcons, headlined by Jalon Skywalker, another Georgia dog.
Yep, and then Pierce. Come back in.
James Pierce, the traded pick. Now, let's not grade them. Let's take that trading of the future aside.
I'm not.
Right. You know what I mean? Like that.
Yeah. Oh no, I know
that doesn't come to fruition until the 2026 draft, obviously, with what they do with that first pick. Let's just take it for what it is right there on paper now, which would be Jalon Walker. James Pierce wound up being the player that they moved in for. So they got an additional first round pick. They took another edge. Yeah, this again another team that didn't do anything offensively, with the exception of offensive tackle, but not skill position. By the
tackle they got too is good.
Jack Nelson.
Yeah.
Jack Nelson. There's also a safety from Notre Dame. And that rounds out their draft altogether. 5 picks. Nothing crazy here. Terry Fontenot and the Atlanta Falcons, I'd say, had themselves a nice little condensed. I'd give them an A2. Again, they're good with running backs. Obviously, we know that they're good with wide receivers. They have their quarterback. They've got 2 of them actually. Yeah. They've got their tight end. Supposedly, for the last 5 years, 6 years, they have a tight end.
And who knows? They could trade him somewhere before the season starts too.
We'll see. Yeah, I wouldn't rule it out. The Ravens, Malachi.
They fixed the one weakness that hurt them the most last year. That's the defense.
Yeah, they need defense. Absolutely.
They lost 3 overtime games because of their defense? Well, their defense made the teams go into overtime, made the team go overtime because they couldn't hold a lead. Then they gave up losses in overtime because they couldn't.
This is he's a defensive-minded head coach, right? They need to improve on their defense without question. Much in the same way that we talk about the teams from the AFC, how they want to kind of like replicate that blueprint for success on by having a really filthy front 7 on defense. Well, I mean, the teams in the NFC have to do the same thing. They should want to do the same thing. They should want to be strong bullies up front.
Yeah.
Get after the quarterback.
What have we really been saying? What was our mantra all off season before the draft? Was teams saw how Philadelphia won the Super Bowl. So they're going to go heavy that way. The blueprint, exactly.
It's the blueprint. Oh yeah, see the solo goat.
Yeah.
The solo goat knows that we're getting to his Ravens. They got the Malachi John Starks, by the way, and Mike Green on the edge. Yeah, from Marshall. Yeah, I mean, look, we knew what the Ravens were going to do. We all knew what the Ravens were going to do, and they even stayed to form. They drafted like some no name. I don't know. Maybe you do. Maybe Solo does. This guy, where is he? Lejante Wester, not even Webster.
From
Lejante Wester
Colorado.
from Colorado. Yeah.
Yeah, he's legit.
Yeah,
He's fast.
there's only.
He's fast. He can return punts, return kicks. He was a very solid pick. I don't know if I can't remember if I text Solo when they picked that because I really liked him. I liked him out in Colorado, but when you have Travis Hunter on the other side of the horn, Wester was like getting the leftovers on that team. And a lot of times Sanders didn't have enough time to get him the damn ball too. So yeah, that's a solid return man, but he can play offense.
We're probably going to get into a little bit of that.
I like both.
Yeah, look, the Ravens. No one ever accused the Ravens of not having like top-notch front office. You may not like them as how they. You may not like the product on the field, with the exception of like Lamar. Obviously, all eyes are on that, and of course now you got Derrick Henry entering the second season as the Ravens running back. But you may not like the product in terms of how they play their football, whatever. No one ever accused this team of not being a top-notch organization. Top-notch.
No, very much.
Top-notch front office. So
it's funny because there's some fans out there that didn't like this draft, and I don't know why or what or how they could not like their draft. There's some people that they're armchair GMs. They think they know more about what the team needs and what the GM knows.
Be that as it may.
Mm-hmm.
Be that as it may. Those that understand what the Ravens do, those that understand who the players are, or what the, again, tape, analytics, college production, so on, so forth. Ravens, again, by default alone of front office, we'll give them a B+ here. I'll give them a B+.
I'm right there with you.
Let's go to the Mafia. The Mafia, very much like the Ravens, very much like the Cardinals. They just stuck it right onto the defensive side. They did take a tackle late. Unless you're Jason Kelsey, not many offensive linemen that late wind up hitting, but it could be a very good depth piece.
Who? What team?
The Bills.
Okay. You said Mafia, so it's been a long weekend. All right.
It's been a long weekend. What are you going to do when the season starts, Rhino?
Well, I'll watch games, but
what are you going to do when the season starts? I wish I could turn back Father Time for you. I wish I could do that, but I can't. Ron thought.
I know what I thought.
Yeah, I know. I called him I called him the Mafia. He's probably thinking of like the Godfather. He's thinking of like Vito Corleone. Bills Mafia. Maxwell Hairston, T.J. Sanders, Landon Jackson on the edge from Arkansas. I bet you he winds up doing well. And again,
I like T.J. Sanders was a solid pick.
They had a bunch of picks here too. Well, not a bunch, but they had 2 in the 6th and a 7th rounder. They had 2 in the 5th. They had 2 2s. So yeah, they did have a bunch of picks. Mostly all defense.
That was their weak point. So
they did add tight end, which is kind of interesting in the 5th.
Jackson Haas, right? Was it Haas that they? I can't remember which was it
Yeah,
Haas. Okay,
yeah,
so I think
kind of interesting.
I think he got brought. He got picked because he will take Dawson Knox's spot. Maybe not this year, but next year. He because he's raw. He's a raw talent. He has a lot of blocking upside and a little bit and receiving upside too. But they just need to meet in the middle at some point. But that was one of my favorite sleepers, tight end sleepers this year.
Dawson Knox isn't old either. Dawson,
Close to 30, I believe, isn't he? Seems like he's
um,
been in the league for a while.
it seems that way. I don't know how. I'm not sure. Not sure if Dawson Knox is really that old. Nevertheless, though, it's an interesting pick.
Yeah.
It's an interesting pick. The next time we will most likely be talking about this young man would be in the event that we are speaking of right now. Other than that, we may never hear this guy's name again.
Like
But
I think like with him, if they want to go to like a 13 personnel with three tight ends and a wide receiver,
you see that like maybe
don't yep.
you see that maybe once in a season, maybe if that. The Bills should get. I give again. I guess I give them a B or a B plus as well. The Bengals, Shamar Stewart. We know that the mother effing Cincinnati Jungle Bengals had to do it, and they stayed. Then they stayed exactly to the course, and they spent the late round, 6th round pick on a running back. So our guy Chase Brown did survive this draft. Hey
Right.
Bears, hey Bears, how you doing, Goat? Welcome to the Fantasy Goats YouTube show. Hey Bears, fan, not sure why people are giving the Bears good grades when they passed on a day one starting left tackle, running back, and safety for a number 2 tight end, 3 wide receiver, and number 3 right tackle. Well, I get your I get your pushback. I do.
I get it too.
I I uh I would have bet money that they were going to draft a running back.
They
I
did in the 7th round. The kid from Arizona.
I would have bet money that they would have drafted a running back on an earlier day or in an
Mhm.
earlier round. I would have bet money that it wouldn't have been Colston Loveland as the tight end choice over
No,
Warren.
but
So I would have
like we were talking about on Monday or Thursday night,
I,
that
I,
that might be a system fit. You know,
I would of course I would have lost money there and not to I don't really want to call it insult to injury because the kid could wind up being very productive, but they did add a wide receiver to what we think to be now a crowded wide receiver room with a lot of mouths to feed. Now that's not necessarily a problem if you're a Bears fan. You want Caleb to have all these weapons all over the place, but
who's
for our
on man
purpose,
out? Who's on man out of them? Who's going to get majority of the
mm,
target?
we'll cover that in another show.
See, because I give them a C plus because they could have gone running back in the 2nd round. They could have gotten Caleb Johnson in the 2nd round.
Yeah.
So I understand what he's saying. I would give them a C plus.
Okay. That's fair. It's fair. I mean, the Bears they did wind up. Well, let's skip ahead. Well, we know what the Bengals did. Where the Bears?
And
Where
thank you for that. Don't bury the lead wrestling channel. And I
where's
think I'm
the
following you now. Send me a link to your if you're on YouTube. Send me a link to your YouTube so I can subscribe to it.
this is the resident wrestling fan here for sure.
Yeah, I'm the resident. I'm the diehard wrestling
So
fan.
in the 2nd round, Ozzy Trapilo, the offensive tackle from Boston College. I mean, they made significant upgrades and improvements to the offensive line in free agency. So I mean,
Yeah,
like, yeah, I mean, could they have foregone Luther Burden in round 2 for somebody a little bit great for someone graded perhaps a little higher than Trapilo, but again, we have to remember something important. How we're grading and how analysts from The Athletic and ESPN and so on and so on and so on, how they're grading and how we're grading is completely different than how the actual organization is grading.
Right.
Completely different. And a perfect example of that would be the Jets draft. Because this guy flat out just said we drafted these guys because they fit our culture. He's not giving us anything else. He's not giving us, he's great separator, like nothing. His agility, his versatility. We're not getting anything other than culture, culture, culture. So how these guys do their process, their evaluations, completely different from all the pundits.
Yeah.
And handsome people like him. Yeah, don't bury the lead, baby. Thank you very much, Goat. We appreciate you. All of these weapons aren't going to mean jack. Yeah, I get it. I get it. And I would say 90% of my philosophy, I agree with that. You're right. You should be all right with DJ Moore and Roma Dunes and Cole Kmet. You should be okay with these guys. You should be. The DeAndre Swift pick lack thereof, him surviving the draft.
That was the most surprising thing is that they drafted the kid out of Arizona, which I mean he's all right, but he's like somebody you're going to play on special teams. He's not that's going to be able to spell Swift or Johnson.
Well, yeah, we'll hold more of that for winners, losers, for sure. Yeah, the biggest winner of the NFL draft is DeAndre. I mean, part of me also detects like the angst in Bears fan here. I get it, man. I get it. I get the angst of like all the seasons of just like this.
And you're welcome. And please like and subscribe if you haven't yet.
It's almost like like the Saints with the bags over their heads. I get it. It's part of the angst. I am the Jet fan here, so I get that angst. I get it. The Chicago Bears had a beautiful looking war room with so many people there. You would think that they are like a 10-time Super Bowl winning organization. But then such long history, long historical. I get it. All right. Oh, we're skipping the Browns. And the Bengals, I'd give them an A-. They did well with Shamar Stewart. I think he's a home run.
I think so. They did good.
I think he's a home run. All right, Jerry and Steven. Jerry was dancing. He was dancing, but he wasn't even dancing after Tyler Booker and Donovan Ezeraku. He was dancing, I think, on like Siobhan Ravel.
I was dancing to Jaden Blue.
He may have been dancing on Jaden Blue or Shamar James. Well, he was dancing late. Look, I get it.
They had a solid draft.
They always do.
Booker's nasty, man.
They always do. They have a solid draft. And when push comes to,
they asked him. Sorry, go ahead.
No. What were you gonna say?
They asked him who he's looking forward to playing against. And he said, "I'm looking forward to playing against Jalen Carter because I make that bitch cry." God, all right, man. Micah Parsons loved that.
Yeah. Yo, Max Goat. How are you? Chiefs are coming right up. We're gonna get right to the Chiefs. They're coming up. Tyler Booker, Donovan Ezeraku. Yeah, I mean, the Cowboys usually draft well, and when push comes to shove, we know what the issue is. You can't get out of a wild card. Can't get out of a wild card.
Yeah, and I'd give them a B-.
We go as far as Dak takes us. That's how far we're gonna go. We're gonna go as far as that contract and Dak takes us. Jadon Blue, yeah. We'll carry this over into tomorrow's winners and losers. Javonte Williams ain't it. I'm sorry, and neither is Miles Sanders at this point.
No.
So Jadon Blue in the fifth round. In the fifth
Yeah.
round, they had a lot. They had a lot of picks here too. Rhino. They had 3 7s. Congratulations. You had a 6. So 3. You have a 6, a 5th. You have 2 in the 5th. They had a lot of draft picks. Let's see what they gave them. They gave the Cowboys a B. That would be CBS, folks. We are working off of CBS right now.
That's why I said B minus.
I don't typically.
I would wish they would have gotten another receiver, but we'll talk about the winners and losers about that too tomorrow because Lamb won. There's,
Cowboys get a B. Give them a B. These guys worked hard. Broncos, baby. The Denver Broncos. Everybody's like Marion Hampton to the Broncos. Second running back off the board. Sean Payton said, hold that.
Yeah, hold it. Hold it.
Oh. Hold that.
Hold it. Pump your brakes there, people.
Hold this. What this guy?
We're going to get the number 1 rated DB first.
We're going to have 2 Pro Bowl cornerbacks. And when I got dogs up the middle and I'm going to rush 4 and Patrick Mahomes is going to be under duress and he's going to throw and not have enough time, he's going to throw right into Johnny Barron's hands. Then he went and got R.J. Harvey. And if he didn't think that R.J. Harvey was the right running back, he wouldn't have drafted R.J. Harvey. He would have.
No.
If he would have thought that Marion Hampton was going to be a bigger impact and a bigger value, a greater value than Johnny Barron, then he would have done Marion Hampton in the first round.
And Pat Bryant was a sneaky good pick.
Then he took interesting pick. Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. You want to talk about again another team with a crowded wide receiver room, but I mean, look, I don't know what he really how he really feels about Troy Franklin. I don't really know. We don't really know how he really feels about Veal.
We know he likes Marvin Mims.
Devon Villay. We don't really know how he feels about it. So, and we also know this. We also know that because he's on record, he just loved having these different rotational shifts with his wide receivers.
Yeah.
He had these 3 playing X amount of times, and he would have this group play X amount of times, and so on and so forth. I mean, so he may like all of them. Troy Franklin may play more. Who knows?
I hope so. I mean, because he has a lot of upsides, but I don't think he was really quite pro ready last season. So maybe during his off season, the second season, the game will catch up to him, the speed of the game. But we saw glimpses of what he can do last year towards the end of the season.
Let's jump ahead for our friend here.
I give them an A.
Let's get to the Chiefs.
Broncos
getting an A.
Yeah, Broncos get an A.
How about them Chiefs? So they're pick 32, Josh Simmons. We know that they needed a freaking lineman.
They took one lineman though.
They took the highest graded tackle, probably on the board at the time. Then they have to wait an entire round basically to take the defensive lineman from Tennessee, who's another solid player, Ashton Gillett, edge out of Louisville. What'd you think of the Jalen Royals pick in the 4th? That might have been the steal. That may have been the home run pick.
That surprised the shit out of me.
Well, it surprised me.
Not as much as the Bashard Smith pick in the 6th round, I think? Was it 7th round that they got Bashard Smith?
7th.
That
That's the
but if he could
they.
be, he could end up being RB1,
That's the new Samaji Piran.
but he's better than Samaji P. Ryan.
Okay, Samaji 2.0. Yeah, that's a new Samaji Piran right there.
If I'm if
So
I'm if I'm Kareem Hunt, I'm worried. If I'm Pacheco, I'm definitely worried.
yeah, seventh round pick, Rhino. I mean, we
But
know
he had I think he I
seven.
think I think he had like a fifth round grade.
I can tell you. I can tell you professional grade on him. Let's do that. Fifth grade, Bashad. Come on. It's the one time I want you to be quick. Quick.
I think the
Yeah.
Chiefs should have got more offensive line heavy. You know, but that's me
According
because
to the
that
beast
was
that
their big weakness. And you know, unless they think the kid out of BYU last year they drafted is going to make an adjustment in year two. I'm not going to try to say his name because I'll just butcher the shit out of it.
who
So
from what team?
the Chiefs last year, Salam Malatu or whatever, some long.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Right, 'cause
Nevertheless,
he played tackle last year. He got, or 2 years ago, their pick last year.
nevertheless, Omar Norton Lot on the line, Ashen Gillett edge, Noel Williams cornerback. I mean,
And I like that pick too.
Jalen Royals has a higher grade than the fourth round, so they got some good value there. And
Yeah,
Brashad Smith has a higher grade on him
yeah,
than the seventh. So those were two good
exactly.
picks. Those are two good picks, and let's we'll bump them a half a grade just because it is the Chiefs. We'll give benefit of the doubt there that they know what they're doing as well, and I'll give them a B plus. I'll give
Right.
them a B plus. I think Jalen Wells will add. Could
What
be a
receivers
nice.
out of that? What do you think? What receivers going to? Who's that hurt more? What receiver do you think? Or do you think that might be a contingency plan, just in case Rasheed Rice gets suspended?
Well, it would certainly be a contingency plan for the amount of games that Rasheed Rice is suspended, but we also don't expect him to be suspended for that many games.
Yeah.
If he's suspended at all, it could be just as much of a contingency on that as it would be also potentially him not being ready for the start of the
That's
season.
true too.
Um, then, lastly, who's to say that this dude doesn't work into different sets, whether it be three wide receiver sets, different types of packages, and gets himself a decent snap percentage on a per game basis. They brought back Hollywood, correct?
Yeah, Hollywood and Juju.
Hollywood doesn't do it for me. And Juju certainly doesn't do it for me.
Yeah.
Neither of those two really do it for me.
So
Like
those two could be maybe release candidates towards
but
after training camp. If Royals are going to come on, Royals are going to show out and show up. That's for damn sure.
Juju though is more like institutional, right? Like
Yeah,
he is a chief. Hollywood Brown is Hollywood.
and
So
he
yeah,
might get hurt.
Jalen Wells could very well
Yeah,
wind up carving himself a nice little role in this scheme in this game of football. Let's get to let's move. I'm going to move up now. I should say move back. How about them Texans?
Texans. They got both Iowa State receivers.
They sure did. Wonder if they're going to be rooming together.
I got to remember right.
Ariant,
They have one. They drafted one offensive lineman.
they drafted Ariante
Yeah.
Ursay.
and that's a
Tackle out of
solid pick.
Minnesota.
He at one time he had a first round grade, first round grade on him.
They drafted him. They drafted your other boy, Woody.
Woody Marks, my boy, that made me happy.
We're gonna get we're gonna get like another one of those detection notices. Controversial keyword detected. Woody.
Yeah,
Look. No,
that
that's
cracks
what
me up.
happened. That's what happened last time. It's gonna happen again.
He's gonna be their third down back.
Woody baby. 6th round. Woody Marks. They get a B. They get a B minus. They didn't address their line enough.
No, they didn't.
They didn't address their line. Their
And they
defense
could
is
have. There was a
good.
lot of there's where they drafted receivers at. They could have drafted like I think Donovan Jackson was still there.
And
Um, I think there's a couple other top tackles.
this dude, Graham Mertz, quarterback, Florida. 6th round quarterback. Yeah, good luck with that.
Yeah,
Jaden Higgins and Jalen Noel. Now we're gonna open up Texans preseason, heading right into the season. Pretty much the same dialogue, same narrative that we entered the Texans season last year.
right.
So was it Stephon Diggs, Nico Collins, Tank Dell, Dalton Schultz? Look at what wound up happening. Now we got a little bit. Not every situation is an exact carbon copy, right? But this is
Right.
damn similar to that. Damn similar. Jalen Noel is a little bit bigger, right? Like he's got a little bit of a bigger body and height on Tank Dell. Jaden Higgins is pretty much a carbon copy of Nico Collins.
Mm-hmm.
And I suppose injury could happen to anybody because it did. It absolutely hit them bad.
What was Kirk's contract? It was
And
like
you got Christian Kirk.
I think I think his contract was like 2 years for 12 million. Wasn't that bad? I don't think. I think one of the reasons they did get Jalen Noel was the fact that Tank Dell might not come back.
He may come back, and still doesn't make a difference.
No,
That
I mean that's
it doesn't
coming
make a
off a
difference.
broken leg the year before, and then a total knee devastation like that, where they own the yeah,
He had an
a bad knee.
battle to begin with.
Hmm.
To begin with, it was not we it was nice seeing the Tank Dell that we saw as a rookie. It was nice. That was nice. Yes, Tank Dell.
Yes.
We were all rooting for it. It was great. And then last season happened. And then we were reminded why he was a mid-round pick.
Yeah. Yeah.
The guy Tez Johnson. Tez Johnson wound up going later than where Tank Dell landed. Tez Johnson. Tez Johnson got himself a $260,000. Congratulations. Again, just like the other dude that we were talking about, I wouldn't be surprised if here right now is the last time we speak of Tez Johnson. The Colts did what we all thought that they were
Yes.
going to do.
I give them a solid A.
They did exactly what we thought they were going to do. It was like telegraphed for us. Tyler Warren, then JT Tuamaloa, Justin Wally, DJ Giddens. How
Yep.
about that?
That's a good RB2 right there for him.
How about
That's a
that?
very good RB2 for him.
That to me, and I know that we've spoken about that on this show because of course with mock draft Matthew and second round Sam and folks folks, that is the same person.
Yes.
That they were going to address
Mhm.
getting Jonathan Taylor or another running back because what they had behind him wasn't it. It's just not it. Now
And I'm
I don't
glad
like
I didn't wait till the later rounds to do that. That was a good damn pick.
DJ
Good pick.
Giddens in the 5th round. That's correct. Let's give the Indianapolis Colts and they did take Riley Leonard also to to to
Now, okay,
to, to
so Ryan Leonard, hear me out here, because I think me and Sam and three names, 100 names, we talked about him. And
mhm.
remember what I said about him? He could be Taysom Hill. He could be this year. He could be another Taysom. If he plays his cards right, he's never going to start a game, but he can play a Taysom Hill kind of role, and he'll have a long career because
Okay.
he's a better runner than he is a thrower. But if they use him like that, he's going to do good.
He could just maybe a quarterback for them.
Well,
Then I
yeah,
doubt. I
we'll
doubt it.
see
I
it.
doubt it too. I doubt it too.
No,
I doubt
no,
it.
no.
Jacksonville Jaguars, poverty stricken, said, you know what? You know what? Let's make a splash.
Let's make a splash.
Let's make a splash. Let's go from 5 to 2.
Give him
Let's
next year's first round
and let's give up next year's first round in the
and a second
process.
and a third.
Let's give up everything for this wide receiver cornerback who's generational. Yes, okay. Let's see. I can't wait to see this generation. This generation of generational. I can't wait to see what they do here. I can't wait to see it when Trevor Lawrence is airmailing passes to him because
Hmm.
he doesn't have the height. He was airmailing passes to Calvin Ridley. So what leads us to believe that Trevor Lawrence just found accuracy all of a sudden, full on accuracy? It's possible. I mean,
Yeah.
I shouldn't disparage the man, but nevertheless,
And
after
then
that,
they drafted a running back too.
they did draft another running back, Bashul Tootin. A lot of
Right.
people like this dude.
That so one of the running backs is going to be out because
A lot of people like
he's a
this
good
dude.
receiving running back too. He can run. He's a good runner, but he's a good receiving quarterback or running back too. So is Bigsby going to be the Bucky Irving in this, and then Tootin going to be Rashid White?
It's a fair question. It
Yeah.
is. And why is it a fair question? Because I heard basically a similar variation to that. Yeah, like how will this backfield shape out to be?
Hmm.
What is Travis Etienne? How is he going to get thrusted into his playing time? How is that going to work? What is going to happen with Tank Bigsby?
Yeah.
Because this guy Tootin might wind up being better than, or at least
Both of them.
more productive out of the gate, or whatever traits he shows in the camps in the preseason is going to dictate how he gets onto the field. Now, I wouldn't expect it to be right away. I don't know if it's going to be right away. Just like any other rookie running back, anytime. Can't just like go ahead, go play in the NFL. Yeah, some of
Yeah.
them, yes, some, and even those backs, they go through growing pains.
Yep. Unless he shows out during preseason, I think like Bucky Irving did last year, where they go, "Oh, damn, we need to play him. Need to play him." I I'd give them a C plus, B minus.
Yeah, they lose a half a grade because it's the Jacksonville Jaguars. Until you show us otherwise, right?
Right.
You lose a half a grade. So yeah, I'd go from the B minus to the C. Absolutely.
Okay.
The Raiders, baby. The
Oh
Raiders.
my
Well,
God,
here's
Jack
one of
Fetch, my.
Jack
Oh
Bash.
yes.
Now here's one of those running backs that is going to start
Oh yeah.
snap one. Okay,
Yeah.
and again, I'm gonna put the same label on him. Like, he may struggle a little. He may struggle out of the gate,
Mhm.
just because it's a rookie.
Now my favorite pick on their draft was Deontay Thornton from Tennessee.
Later, yeah.
Yeah, that's my favorite. That was my favorite pick. Yeah, he ran
Okay.
a 4.3 40. I think he's like 220, 6'3", 6'2", 220. He's a little bit of a raw talent, but
they
Pete
not
Carroll got
only
Pete Carroll got his almost a DK Metcalf clone.
he's got some weapons now. Well,
Yeah,
they look the Raiders had a good draft.
I
They had
give
a good
them I
draft.
give them an A. I give them an A.
They didn't.
Solid A for awesome.
I kind of feel that the Raiders also they had to let the draft come to them. So like like let's say Ashton would have went to Jacksonville, and if Jacksonville would have stuck at 5, and the Raiders would have had to. This would look vastly different, in my opinion.
Yeah, but they would have gone probably defense. They've gone. They might have gone Mason Graham, either Mason Graham or they're gone tackle, and it's still I think it would still been
So it's
a
like they
solid
didn't.
A.
So like they did some dogs on the offensive line. Two
And they got
picks in two picks in round 3. They had another third round pick
hmm
out of Iowa State, Darian Porter.
yeah,
And where was the other? There
that's
was
a
something
solid pick
else.
too.
There's something else that caught my attention here.
Well, they drafted Cam Miller out of North Dakota State in the
Oh
seventh
no,
round, and they drafted a wide receiver. I was like, who? And then they started showing the replays, the highlights. And he was actually a quarterback, and they started talking about how he's gonna be a Julian Edelman kind of player because Edelman was a quarterback in college, and then when he got drafted, you saw what happened with that. So why not take a 6th and 7th round pick? Smart throw.
yeah. So yeah, this is what caught my attention. Caught my attention the other night, and a few hours ago before we went on. Yeah, the picks 98 and 99 for offensive tackle. Including us on the show, were like, this was it. This was it. This was Shedeur. This was Shedeur. This was Shedeur. Nope. Because the
Nope.
Raiders had the two picks back to back to close out the third. All right, yeah. Look, let's give the Raiders an A minus. They had a good draft. Let's see what
Yeah.
Uncle Pete does. The Chargers had a Chargers. Chargers did a little bit. Of, all right, let me start over here. It seems as though the Chargers were unconventional, or at least Jim Harbaugh went a little unconventional
Mhm.
by selecting Marion Hampton, then Trey Harris, then he went with a defensive lineman. But then I'm thinking about it. I'm thinking about it. And it's like, I bet you he kind of like sees this as the continuation of last year's draft, and
Right.
how he's building his program. So so based on what they did last year, it's now just more building blocks to that. So
And then the tight end they got in the 6th round, Oronde Gradson, the third.
Oronde, that's
I think
right.
Oklahoma State, right? Oklahoma State.
Syracuse.
Syracuse. Okay, Syracuse.
Ronde, baby.
That was a good sleeper. That's a good pick. That was a
You know
really
what a ronde? You know what a ronde is?
what?
Generational.
Huh?
Generational.
Generational.
He's generational. That's
Okay.
generation. Ronde Gradston. He's generational. Mason Taylor. That's generational. Marvin Harrison Jr. is generational. But now we just
Everybody's generational now.
now we just give generational to anybody. That's correct.
You're
Around
generational.
around the
That's my
Gatson.
generation.
Around the Gatsons is generational. Pat Surtain is generational.
I give them a B plus, A minus. The whole AFC West, man, just got better. You know, they got better. They're nipping on the Chiefs.
And with the 46th pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, Commissioner Rhino selects
Terrence Ferguson,
tight end, Oregon.
Yeah. Yes.
Is he there? Is he on stage? Or are we panning back to his home with the dogs climbing all over everybody? Terrence.
Oh man, that's a good pick. That's a good pick. The two best picks I think for me were Jacquez Hunter and Chris Paul Jr.
Jacquez Hunter.
He had the third highest explosion rate in college football last year. So the Rams got their home run he's hitter at running back.
General Manager Les Snead's history provides so much confidence in his drafting talent. Moving back, getting that extra first-round pick for the 2026 draft, spectacular. Then nabbing his tight end too in the class, Ferguson. All right.
They thought about they thought about picking him at 26 too. They thought. I'm glad they didn't, because now we have another first here. But definitely give them an A.
We're jumping to the Giants. Cam Scatterbrains in the 4th round.
Yeah.
So if Abdul Carter wasn't a home run draft pick, 3rd overall, that was the pick. If Jackson Dart wasn't a solid 25th overall draft pick back into the 1st round, I think they parted with 2nd and 3rds next year.
Right.
So I mean, again, you didn't have to give away the farm. Like Jacksonville gives away the farm.
Well, and so did Atlanta.
And Atlanta giving away the farm. But Atlanta, at least Atlanta is probably saying to themselves, "We have our franchise quarterback." But that's a bad excuse. I mean, again, it's neither here nor there. We'll see how that works out. We're going to need a few seasons to figure that out.
I think Scatterby was a luxury pick. I don't think they needed to pick a running back.
I mean, they didn't need to draft a running back at all. I think this was high value. He's got a higher grade than where he was selected. He
Yeah.
doesn't have a 4th-round grade.
Now he's 5th or 6th round grade.
Let me double check here.
No, I think 4th round, 3rd or 4th round was probably about right for him.
Scatterbrains, 3rd, 4th. Yeah, so they did well here. Um, I wouldn't be surprised if he eats into playing time. I wouldn't be surprised if this is some sort of running back by committee. I mean, I know that's not what we want for fantasy
No, remember
purposes. I get that.
what did Debro say when he was on the show with us about Scatterboo? That if he's going to be in the committee, then he's only getting maybe 15 touches a game, and so he's gonna be touchdown dependent.
Yep.
That's why I made a comment to you. I text you that Singletary. See, to me, he's going to be taking Singletary's spot because that's what Singletary's spot ended up being towards the end of the season. Because the Tyrone Chase has a lot more upside rushing and receiving. Now Scatterboo can rush and receive too. So,
but the end of the season usage with Devin Singletary also, or I should say, resurgence of usage with Devin Singletary at the end of the season also
because Chase was dropping the ball.
That corresponded to the drops. Yeah, that's right. So it was kind of like correlated to that. If Tyrone Tracy, let's say Tyrone Tracy didn't drop the ball, didn't have those fumbling issues, I'm not sure if we would have seen Devin Singletary at all.
Nope.
And so now back to present, and now projecting forward, Cam Scatterboo. What is this dude's strength? This guy is all power. This guy's just gonna go. This guy just wants to run right into you and take you with him. So I mean, yeah, could that be goal line type of work, goal line type of usage? Yeah, it could be. Again, we'll get into. We're gonna have to get into this a lot more. Based
tomorrow,
on, well, definitely tomorrow with winners and losers, but then what we hear coming out of camp, what we hear coming from beat reporters, what we hear, how other analysts are going to project this. My feeling would be that, he's going to have some sort of role. Now, how we draft Tracy, how we draft Scatterboo, these are two separate conversations.
Later shows.
Hunter Renfrow is just signed with the Carolina Panthers.
Did he really?
Yes.
Damn. Huh.
Hunter Renfrow hasn't played in what, 2 seasons?
2 seasons,
3?
Yeah.
No, man, maybe
Daniels freaking blackballed him.
I mean, Hunter Renfrow is going to be coaching.
That's interesting.
Making his return to the NFL after only a year away.
Yeah, last year. So he last played 2 years ago, but he.
It's bad. It's bad for Jalen Cocaine.
I think it's worse for Adam Thielen. Adam Thielen is more the possession receiver, and that's what Renfrow is possession receiver. Plus, he can return punt stuff too. So, interesting. That's not a bad flyer for a team to take, especially a young team like that.
I'm not touching him.
I'm not touching him either. No.
I'm not touching him.
No.
I'm not touching him because
he might be something that later on in the season, if he starts heating up, that we're like, oh, it's waiver time. Hunter Renfrow. Get Hunter Renfrow. But not until the season, not until see how things work out, man. But still,
you called the rumors. Not touching it.
Good point.
Great point. It's a great point.
All right. Next.
Armand Membo, Mason Taylor. Those are really two dudes that could that we could say were drafted by the Jets to fill specific requirements of the team,
Mm-hmm.
to block, to be the type of offensive lineman that is excellent, not just in pass blocking, but also to take the edge away from the line in run
Mm-hmm.
block in the running game. So I mean, there's a reason why he is the offensive tackle 2 coming into this draft, and he was the second offensive tackle taken in the draft. Very, from what I'm hearing, very, very good, just at snap, like ball
Yeah.
hike, and he's like,
Yeah.
he's absolutely ready. So he's got a lot of strengths. He's the only dude, and probably Mason Taylor as well, that wasn't brought in for culture. Everyone else here, Azariah Thomas, Arian Smith, a wide receiver, Malachi Moore, a defensive back, Francisco Morgua, linebacker, all
I like
fit,
the I like the Aaron Smith pick.
all fit culture. That's it. All fit culture. You know nothing else. Methodical draft this year from the Jets. Membu fortifies the right side. Okay, yep.
Mm-hmm.
Smith is electric down the field and runs quality
Yep.
routes. His hands are just very suspect.
Very suspect.
All right, great.
That's why they said. I think somebody said that he's gonna become best friends with the jugs machine.
Good. All right, let's go. Let's get to let's get to one of my favorites here. Let's get to one
So
of my
what's your
favorites.
grade for the Jets then? A B minus?
Jets are gonna get a B minus,
I
if not a C. If not a C. They this wide receiver that they took. Look, I don't think I think Jaden Higgins was taken before they had the opportunity, or it would have been a little bit more of a high. Like they took Mason Taylor, the tight end, where they should
Mhm.
have taken Jaden Higgins. That's what I would have done. Now again, I'm not a brand new general manager like this guy is for a organization that's ran as poorly as the Jets are ran for X amount of years. So I understand that they had to be a little bit different. I would have taken Higgins to go opposite Garrett Wilson. I don't know if I mean Mason
Hey,
Taylor. I think he was taken a little high, a little
Did
bit
his
of a reach.
did his dad play for the Jets for a little bit after he left Miami?
I don't remember that. Didn't he retire a Dolphin?
I know. I think he might play one more year then retired.
I don't remember that.
I have to go back on the Wayback Machine, but it's
Most
broken.
most Jets don't play for Dolphins and vice versa. Most. That's not to say there are some exceptions to the rule, but traditionally you don't really get that.
Yeah. I
Um, but yeah, I mean, so they didn't do anything. They didn't do anything with running backs
no.
relatively high. So I mean, we kind of like, okay, we're safe there. We were good there. Yeah, again, this is going to be a defensive team. We knew that going in. I just thought Tyler Barron is a fifth round edge, right? Maybe he hits. Arian Smith, a wide receiver from Georgia, it's a C plus grade here. Mason Taylor is a C plus grade here.
Really?
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
it's it's, it's weird because there's a lot of people at Mason Taylor rated almost as high as Loveland and Warren.
yeah. So I mean, again, maybe he winds up being a fantastic weapon for Justin Fields.
Yeah.
Maybe hope the 49ers, Michael Williams, second round, Alfred Collins on the defensive line. In the
Oh,
third
and
is a
except for
linebacker.
a receiver and a freaking running back.
Bunch of dogs. Well,
Now,
we think these guys are joke. We think they're dogs.
did you see the? I can't remember if I texted you, but their safety that took over to a fungus spot, he's out for the season.
Yeah,
He tore his ACL at the end of the season. He's out.
yeah.
I think that news broke out like right after the draft yesterday
On purpose too.
on purpose. Yep.
Of course, on purpose.
I
They weren't gonna kind of telegraph that going into the draft. So yeah,
I was really surprised. I was really surprised they didn't draft any offensive linemen. None. James Jordan, that's a solid pick at running back.
well,
That's going to be
you
he's a better version of what Jordan Mason was. But
really
yeah, in my opinion, yeah.
we
But then
knew
they drafted a receiver, get 4.3 or 4.3. I was like, who's this guy? But why? I mean, at that point, they still could have taken like a Connor Williams out of Texas. They needed offensive line. One of my best friends, I was texting back and forth with some Niners fans that I'm friends with, except I have more friends that are Niners fans than Rams fans. Go figure. And they're like just coming down texting me, what are they doing? I don't know what they're doing wrong. Why are they doing this?
there's one team that
I give them a C.
There's one team that you give them a C. No, I'll give them a C too. They got a C here as well.
Did they really?
Yeah, if there's one team that could draft a 5th round running back, and I would be okay with it. It's this team right here.
Oh, yeah.
This is the only team I trust that could draft a 5th round running back. And if push came to shove, and if this guy has to start, boom, we have a home
start.
We have a home run.
And then plus, you think about the end of last season. McCaffrey went out, and then Mason got hurt, and then Garanda got hurt, and then they were left with Patrick Taylor and some Joe Blow off the street the last game or last 2 games.
Thought Patrick Taylor is the Joe Blow.
Yeah, I think there's another Joe Blow after him. But so I thought that was a good draft pick for them. I just didn't understand
And who was that guy? Patrick Taylor. And last, and certainly not least, or no, second to last, second to not least, it's the Titans. The Titans. Now forget about the first pick overall.
They didn't for some solid stuff, man. Familiar place people.
You know what they did. For him. You know what they did.
Yeah. They did good.
UDFA.
Yep.
Xavier Restrepo. Come on down, baby. Let's go.
And I think they signed another Miami player too.
I love that.
Yep.
That's cool.
I like everything.
I said that. I said that. I wanted them to might bring in his people. Treylon Burks ain't it.
No.
I don't even think Calvin Ridley's it.
They I did Alec Mora was like a 5th round pick for them.
5th round pick.
Bye Burks. He was I think he was a 2nd round grade. 2nd or 3rd round grade.
Alec Maynard. Let's take a look at his grade from Stanford. One of very few wide receivers to burn Travis Hunter.
Very much burn him. I was surprised that he lasted. I just kept on seeing him on the big board. It's like it didn't make sense at all. Because I didn't see anything negative about him.
It's got a 3rd round grade.
Yeah, and they got him in the 5th round.
A steal. They steal. Gunnar Helm. Gunnar
That's
Helm
it.
in the
Gunnar
fourth.
Hill.
See,
Oh, that's a
what
good.
that?
That's
So
solid.
so that's what I mean, though, Rhino. Right? Like, don't you like the Jets could have done Gunnar Helm?
Yeah,
If
big
not
time.
before, if you want to reach on a tight end, how about all right, fine, go into the third round and get Gunnar Helm. I don't know why. I don't think Mason Taylor wasn't the pick there. So
No,
again,
because Helm can play inside and out.
I don't want to crucify them that badly. We should be optimistic, but it's hard to be optimistic because it's the Jets. So I don't want to burn them that badly. I don't know if that again. This ain't. I don't know if this guy's turning into Sam Laporta from the Lions because that's
No,
the way
no,
they're
no.
thinking. Aaron Glenn saw how the Lions did things. The successful Lions. And they got a second round tight end in Sam Laporta. So I mean, can't do that. Can't play that game. Cleveland Browns.
Tennessee got A, easy A, in my
They get
opinion.
an A, and I'm gonna give the Cleveland Browns an A too, without even going through their picks. So we know what they did. We know that they spent the
You're
number.
giving an A?
The Browns.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll give the Browns an A.
Huh.
I'll give the
Okay.
Browns an A. Mason Graham is a great pick. Moving to that spot for him is a home run. A dog next to another dog. Might as well
Okay,
just
those
take
two
it.
picks were good.
Quinshon Judkins
I like that. Yeah.
is a fucking home run. It should be
And
a
then
home
they
run.
turned around and draft Dylan Sampson.
They
I'd not give it
did
an A
do
though.
that. They did do that, which kind of took the air out of the room a little bit on Quinshon Judkins. But then again, let's relax on that for a second. We're gonna have to see how that plays out.
I give him a C
And
plus.
we know that they have to run the ball. A C plus.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so go ahead. Tell us why.
You you get Dylan Gabriel, who's probably a 6th to 7th round draft choice, and draft him. He's a professional backup. So you draft him way before Shedeur Sanders. They could have had a better pick. They could have picked a defense or offensive lineman or something better. And then they drafted another tight end too, which I like that pick though too. But yeah, that was just I saw that because I just tapped out from the show and I saw that and I was like, I yelled, "What the?" If the picks would have been flip flopped, where Sanders and then Dylan, then yeah, I'd probably give it an A. But they're not. So yeah, Sanders going to start. I think Sanders just start if he gets his shit right, gets his head together, you know.
I don't
And
think you would have got.
or,
I don't
or
think.
people if supposedly suppose I think I sent this to you too is teams were sending him a message and sending college athletes a message that this NIL and this entitled crap that you guys have going on needs to stop because this is what could happen. And if that's the case, that's bullshit. You know, you shouldn't let a kid like that suffer. And then those clowns from Ole Miss that gave him the crank call. That. Did you see that?
You know who that is? You know who did it?
That was somebody's girl, a coach's girlfriend's boyfriend, right? A coach's daughter's boyfriend.
It's Jeff Ulbrich, who was the defensive coordinator, then turned interim head coach of the Jets. Now, Falcons defensive coordinator, his son.
Oh, really?
Yes. And there's a big apology already all over the place. And the Falcons had to release a statement.
Wow.
That they don't condone this behavior.
Yeah.
He
funny,
had access to his father's iPad that was unlocked, had Shedeur Sanders' number and had the information.
So that I mean,
Apologized.
yeah, that's why I give him a C plus. Okay, I'll give him a B minus. I'll do that. I'll be a B minus.
So a few things here. The part with the NIL, I think that just adds to it. I think that adds to the conversation and the
Mhm.
narrative. But that's one spoke of this thing. Let's look at it from like at least a few. Let's look at it from like a few different angles, real fast.
All right.
Let's take it from the mathematical angle. He didn't have he didn't have a large marketplace, right? You have you had only very few teams that actually needed a starting quarterback. Starting quarterback. Now the
Right.
Titans were one of them. After
Well,
that,
that was out the yeah.
right, that it was already he's out of the first round just on that alone.
So the
No one else needed a starting quarterback. So now the questions become, okay, the player, the talent, the strengths, the weaknesses, and so on and so forth. Now, what did the tape tell us? The tape told us that yes, he's got a lot of positives.
a lot.
The tape also told us that there were negatives. Now, when
When you're playing behind a crappy offensive line like he did for 2 years, you're going to make mistakes. You're going to hold the ball longer. It, the way they're treating him like he had freaking sexual assault offenses on him.
he didn't
I
have
know. No, no,
anything criminal, but
no off field problems. He's never had off field problems. You know.
he's got other problems. Whether it's right or wrong,
No, I agree.
whether it's fair, there are other issues. He had a arrogance problem,
Yeah.
and uh,
When you're
a,
what 19 when you're a, a
a
freaking
sense of entitlement. You have that problem. You've got a cocky arrogance. You've got a
he's been coddled by Dion and you know
then
I
okay.
understand all that. I understand all
So
that.
that played
Mhm.
all into it. Imagine this. Imagine you if again. Let's get back to that math. Damn near no teams needed a first. They did not need a starting quarterback, and teams told us this. The Giants who moved into the first round again, no.
No.
We're going to take a developmental quarterback, and that's what Shedeur was. Now, Jackson Dart, Shedeur, in terms of attitude, in terms of professionalism, dedication, Jackson Dart, who Jackson Dart's father isn't Shedeur's
Mhm.
father. All of that played into it. Here's the
Yeah.
other thing. If you're gonna be drafted as a backup quarterback.
Terrible.
No organization, or many organizations. I shouldn't say none because obviously there's one right now, but many organizations didn't want that type of media attention, storyline, storyboard for the backup quarterback's presence in a locker. Like
There
you don't want that as your QB2. What your QB2 needs to do is work his fucking ass off. He needs to support the starting quarterback. He needs to be a freaking soldier. They they did not see Shedeur Sanders being Dion's son that.
no,
And then
I think they were worried about a full on dog and pony show.
and then right. Um, See, you don't have this problem with a Rondé
No.
Gadsden. You don't have this problem with a Mason Taylor. You don't have this problem with a Patrick Surtain. Why? They're not quarterbacks. This is a
Yeah.
much different ball game. Much different. I mean, you know this. We all know this. This is what led to this precipitous drop. So I mean, when you hear like collusion in the league, collusion. It's the Colin Kaepernick situation all over again.
No, that irritated me, man.
You
Just
got.
shut up, man.
I can't stress enough why kids shouldn't do drugs. I can't stress enough
Yeah.
how valuable of an instrument this is because those that think that this was somehow tied to the league sending the league as a whole sending some sort of message and blackballing Shedeur. I don't believe that's the case.
No.
What I do believe, Rhino, is this. I believe you're already up. You're already working against numbers because you didn't. This wasn't a good market for quarterback need. I mean, when I say need, starting quarterback need. You're already working up against it. You didn't do yourself any favors whatsoever by having some of the interviews that you had. Again, some of the ones that are public, like the Super Bowl and the Combine, and how he conducted himself
Hmm.
to all of our cameras, and then some of the reports that we're getting from some of the private ones that
Yeah.
turned people off. So now the amount of teams is just dwindling and dwindling and dwindling, and so did his draft position. Dwindled and dwindled and dwindled till it got to the point where it's like, okay, we are now in the fifth round. We could we could feel good taking Shador Sanders now in this spot with the potential upside of if he does do what we want him to do, what if or not what we want him to, if he does do what he wants to do and be an NFL pro and
Hmm.
work his ass off and come early, stay late, all those cliches, work to improve, work on
Yep.
the craft.
Enamor
They
yourself with your teammates.
then the
Yep.
Browns got the golden ticket, a fifth round quarterback. But here's the thing, right, Rhino? He's not just competing to be a QB2. He's competing.
He'd be QB1.
No. He's competing for a job.
Well, that's true, but he should.
He's
If he
got to
does
be. He's got
everything,
to
if
stay
he
on
does
this team.
everything, if he does everything right, he should be QB1.
Keep in mind this again. This is this was somebody that has flaws. He
Hmm.
has flaws in his game.
But
He wasn't coming in as full on polished of a quarterback as
you
some of the
can't.
others.
All the quarterbacks, any quarterback picked, Cam Ward had major flaws too. You know.
And let's not forget this class,
Hmm.
all the evaluators, all the scouters, all the thises, and all the people that do this. Last year's class was better.
And next year's class is
It is
strong.
going to be
It's
better.
strong.
Yeah, stronger. Right. So all this played a factor in why he fell the way he did. Now that the only thing, excuse me, the only thing that kind of is still kind of fuzzy to me because everything else is crystal clear. You did go the Browns draft Dylan Gabriel, so they passed on Shedeur at 4. The question becomes the $1 million question. Did they think he was still going to be available for the next round, or were they surprised and said, you know what, if since we have him now, since he didn't get picked, we might as well do it? And they double dipped on the backup quarterback because
Yeah.
I don't like Dylan Gabriel is probably the odd man out here. I don't think they thought Shador would have made it back to them.
Yeah. I don't think so either. I mean, and we didn't
I
before we before we go, we should probably hit on we missed the Dolphins, the Steelers, and the Saints.
Oh, yeah.
Just okay.
All right.
All right. Be back tomorrow night.
We will be back tomorrow night.
Yeah.
We're gonna go through major winners, major losers, and maybe some that are in between. Shedeur, you made it. Now let's see what you do with it.
Yeah.
Oh, backup quarterback. Ooh, what 30 teams. 30 teams don't want Deion Sanders watching their shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
There are teams that don't like Deion Sanders for whatever reason. They don't like his influence.
I think it's the arrogance that he
Arrogance and influence. He's got a ton of influence. And people don't really like that. Some people don't like that. Some people don't mind that. I'm sure there are people that don't mind that. I don't think the Browns really mind that. They met with Shedeur. They've met with him, from my understanding, more than once. Pat Shurmur is heavily connected into this team somehow, right? Through Kevin Stefanski.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's not like their ties aren't there. It's just a matter of, like, if you went with Gabriel in the fourth, why wouldn't you have just done Shedeur in the fourth? That's the only thing that's sketchy. But then, again, none of these guys have a perfect draft.
Yeah.
All right. If you're listening and you're a Dolphins fan, don't hold it against us. Hold it against your team. Do that. Hold it against your team. Don't hold it against us. We'll be here for you for the rest of the season, especially this off season. But for us to give a serious grade to the Dolphins, a couple of things are going to have to happen first. You need a whole new front office. And the Saints drafted Tyler Shock and his dog. Love that. Well, that was my favorite clip. My favorite clip of the 30s. Tyler Shook, that hot mama that was sitting with him, and the dog. Yeah. Guys, we will be back tomorrow, 8:00. Thank you very much for coming.